testing. Got a nice little setup, new little setup. I know microphone's the same, laptop's the same, I'm the same, but I got a new camera. I'm using Isha's X Pro 2, and this thing has a 10-minute limit, so I'm probably gonna have to talk a little bit faster, keep the episode a little bit shorter so I don't have to edit too much. But hopefully the quality's better. I'm not the best at figuring out focus, and I don't have any type of assistant to help me. So if the audio or visual is off in this episode, I apologize, but we got to roll with it. I'm already a day behind. And on top of that, hello. Welcome back to the Ajay Patel Show. My name is Ajay Patel. I haven't recorded in a minute. I hope you guys enjoyed that Sundeep episode. Good friend of mine. I guess technically I met him through my in-laws, quote unquote, but thoroughly enjoyed that episode. It is a lot easier to just have guests, you know? Like they fill up so much more space. You don't have to kind of just talk to a blank canvas over and over again like I do right now. But also it's a good muscle to kind of keep developing. On that note, we're in July now. We are in July, which makes this the second half of the year. And like I was doing a lot more in my earlier episodes this year, checking in on how's everyone doing? You know, did you lose any weight? Did you put some muscle on? How are you doing financially? How's your relationship doing? How are all the things that you set out on January 1st? I know you made fun of a lot of other people. Resolutions are dumb. I like to work out in October because when everyone else, I know you guys, I know that's the attitude. I know that's the sentiment. I get it. I'm the same. I hate everyone too. I get it. I'm with you. But you still get caught up in the hoopla, you know? You still get this feeling of, oh, I get to start on Monday. You know, ooh, I'll have this pizza today, and then on Monday I'll be good again. Ooh, I'll do this today, and then on Monday I'll be good again. And then a couple Mondays pass, and then you're in July, and you're like, ah, shit. I don't really know how things are going. If you told me this was my life, right? Like if you were like, hey, in July, you'll be engaged, you'll be unemployed, you'll still be on the podcast, I would have believed you, fully believed you. I think exactly where I'm at. I think where I'm at right now is exactly where I kind of plotted it would be. Maybe a little bit more success in some different areas, right? You know, like it'd be nice to have a little bit of income flow. Texas declined my shit. Texas said, nah, bro, you got money. You don't need no unemployment. Bastards. So I might just file it in California. Probably shouldn't say that out loud on an official forum because then I could get got for that. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. First topic of the day. First topic of the day is this debate that happened almost about a week and a half ago now, or it might have been last week. But since we had last week's episode already queued up, I didn't get a chance to talk about it. Now then, with that being said, for those that don't know, Biden and Trump had their, I guess, what would they say, the first debate of the campaign trail on, you know, obviously this all leads to November where they have one big election. Ooh, popular vote, general vote. Oh my gosh, they stole the election, stormed the Capitol. This is where everything starts, kind of in this time frame right now. And the sentiment, if you have probably, or you had to have already seen this already, where it's Joe Biden is unfit. Now, that's not news. 2 plus 2 doesn't sometimes equal 4, right? You see the dude getting lost in all these other interviews. You see him watching a Juneteenth celebration like he's never seen black people before. And then he comes out and does this debate and forgets what he's saying at some points. Kind of loses track of his thoughts. He kind of just fumbles his words. He ends up rambling about some other shit. 2 plus 2 does equal 4 all the time. This is not surprising. And this is where I kind of got annoyed. You know, I was making pizza and I was just watching this thing and I was just like, this isn't surprising. You know, like I didn't expect both of these guys to blow me away with some spectacular performance. I understand. I was on here raving about how he killed his State of the Union address. But sometimes the drugs don't work all the time. You know, you can't pump them up every single time. The dude is old. I was telling Isha where I was just like, these guys 100% deserve credit for being some of the best performers in America. The amount of pressure, the amount of crap you have to remember, all the victims' names of illegal immigrants that took advantage of people. Oh my gosh, we reduced unemployment by this percentage. We increased the housing market by this percentage. The stock market increased by this dollar amount. You have to remember all of that shit. Then they do hair and makeup. Then you put on this stiff suit. Then you go stand up there on a podium. Then it's not like they just instantly start recording. They adjust lighting. They rehearse stuff. Hey, you know what? This is how this is going to go. This is going to be the general idea. You have a moderator. She's going to ask a question. Please hold for 15 minutes while they answer, and then you will have 5 minutes to follow. They go through all of this, and then finally this all starts. And then finally this all starts, and they go on for an hour straight. This is unedited, right? Obviously, or else they would have edited all that crap of him just kind of forgetting where he was at, him being Joe Biden. But Joe Biden being unfit is not new news. This is the new problem with America, is that old people don't let go. Old people don't let go. It's just what's happened, right? Where they come to the country, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. I can have more. I can have more. Oh, I can cash out my 401k and have more. Then they're like, fuck these kids. I don't want to give this up. I have power. I have a house. I have money. I don't want to give this up. These kids didn't work hard enough for it. And that's the mentality. Look at everything that's happening. Look at the housing market. Look at the stock market. Look at the presidency, whether it's the actual presidency, the House seats, the Senate seats, court seats. Old people don't let go. This average age thing was never built into America. The age ceiling was never built into America because people were dying by the age of 48. There was no need to set a maximum age. You know what? I think we'll set the minimum age of the age 35. You have to be born in America and a bunch of other stuff. There was never a max age. There was a max number of years. Hey, you know what? After 8 years, I think we're going to let go of someone. There was never a max age. And this is where we're at, where nothing was ever put in place to say, hey, you know what? You have now reached the ceiling. You must exit. Because there's a curve to this stuff where you're young, right? You're young. Let's say you're coming up all the way until you're 35 is actually not a bad age. 35, you should probably have a good understanding of a lot of things, whether it's how the economy runs, how housing works, the general structure of how tax works. You get this socioeconomic viewpoint that you don't have when you're 25 and you think, oh my gosh, I think Trump's the worst person ever. You have no idea what you're talking about. Same thing with Biden. But then the curve kind of starts dwindling back the other way. After probably the age of, let's say, 60, it all goes downhill. Talk to anyone in your family, right? You'll get a general idea through different conversations you have. The next family function you go to, talk to the youngest person there. Talk to the 13-year-old that's on TikTok making probably $1 million an hour. Talk to the middle-aged person that is probably, sneaking away to smoke a cigarette now and then. Probably, let's say 40 to 60, middle-aged, 35 to 60. And then talk to the elder folks, right? I'm talking 60 and up, right? Your grandparents in most cases. If you're lucky enough to have great-grandparents, talk to them. They barely know where they're at. You got to make them a plate of food. You got to bring it to them. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be treated like that. I love old people, right? I think there's so much to learn. I think they've seen shit that we will never see. They've survived wars. They've survived occupations. Well, it's not occupations. What the hell am I talking about? Like we're British occupation. They've survived all of these things that we won't even have to touch. We won't even have to entertain. Possibly. I don't know yet. We'll see how this country goes. But there's so much richness in their history. But there's a line to draw where it's like, you know what? I don't think I would have you run my household, let alone run a country. So these two 70-year-olds are up there, 70-plus-year-olds are up there answering stuff about their campaigns. Oh, how did this person do? How this person did? This is how we're going to do this if we get reelected. And all of it's nonsense, right? Obviously, they make promises, they undercommit on stuff, they over exaggerate on the things that they did do. And the next thing you know, a couple years later, we do the exact same stuff over and over again. They have reached well past their prime. And we're asking them to do maybe not the hardest, maybe, I don't know. Where would you put this on the difficulty scale? But it's definitely the most strenuous. If you don't believe me, go look at how Joe Biden was talking 4 years ago and look at him today. I understand age plays a factor and you get a certain level of treatment and whatnot, but there's a lot of strain to it. Look at any president's before and after picture. There's strain to it. And this debate was quite literally seen as comedy. As comedy. What am I even watching at this point? What is this? What I have to pick one of these guys? And the worst part about it is the after reporting, right? So the debate ends, and the summary of it was people took away that how Joe Biden stumbled a bit. The whole Trump stuff, look, a quick little 2 minutes on Trump, or quick 30 seconds on Trump, where a lot of his questions revolved around, hey, did you incite violence? Did you incite the people to then storm the Capitol? And he didn't say no, right? But he said, hey, this other person, I think he said Nancy Pelosi, took the blame for it. Therefore, she should be the person that takes the responsibility for it. I shouldn't. Oh, hey, did you pay off a porn star? I don't know what you're talking about. Those are all false claims. You do what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to deny it until it goes away. And look, I don't know where that whole litigation stuff is at. I don't know if it's finalized. I don't know if there's a process to overturn it. I think they're allowing him to still run, and people are making this whole meme culture around, oh, well, if this person can run for president with convictions, then you should be able to run for your local. No. Look at the actual conviction before we start saying stupid shit like that, please. Please, please, please. So getting back to Biden, where after the election, we start talking about the most nonsense. You see the most unloyal people ever. And then also, actually, let me slow down. We get to after the election, the CNN crew are up there with about 30 people around this tiny ass table. And they're all kind of having this sad, you would think you're at a funeral. You would quite literally think you're at a funeral. Oh my gosh, I worked with Joe for 30 years. I was part of his campaign trail in the early days, and him and I got to share so many fond memories, but that person up there today, that's not Joe. Like, why? How is this a surprise? We saw this happening, right? We saw the decline of his mental state, his physical state. He has to get helped off stage, and he's going against, and we'll get back on Trump in a second. And he's going against Trump. And all of these people on the CNN board are basically talking about, oh my gosh, like he did so bad. And there was a bunch of polls that CNN, CNN runs those like live polls. Hey, who do you think won the election? Do you think it was, won the debate? Was it this person, this person? What percentage? And Biden had, I think, maybe 8%. 8%. Now, I get it. People stay loyal. They vote. But there was no way that either one of them really won. Biden had a worse showing, so I guess that's what ends up happening. And so here's my conspiracy of it all. Here's my conspiracy, because there's a lot of noise around this right now. So it takes a lot of money to get to this position. It takes a lot of money to get to this position where, okay, you know what? I will be the Democratic person on the ticket going forward. It takes a lot of money. A lot of people donate money forward. Hey, I'm going to send Biden and Kamala on the ticket for November. That's how they can get into all of these primary debates or whatever happens next. So can I just switch people out? I don't know how the money works like that. So my theory is that they're trying to paint a picture. Look, America is Hollywood. Understand that right now. America is just a bigger version of Hollywood. And we're in the midst of a script. So how do you get this person that is more than likely pretty unwell to run for the job? How do you get him to step down or prove that he is unfit? And then, hey, who do we slide in next? Can we get that Kennedy guy? Oh, he's normally a Republican. Didn't the CIA kill his whole family? He might be a Democrat this time. How do we get someone that can actually take down this big evil? Oh my gosh, we can't have Trump again. America will go to World War III. I'm moving to Canada. I remember all the tweets. The sentiment, the feeling. I remember trying to make jokes about it and bombing on stage. So here comes this general sentiment. Oh my gosh, Biden is unfit. How can we get him to step down? How can we get himself to remove himself? The issue is Biden himself is just doubling down, saying, hey, I'm good. I thought I didn't do too bad up there. In addition to that, I'm what the people need. I will be the person that keeps us away from this big bad evil. I would step down if I felt like the Republican nominee was anything decent, but I have to stay up here. As you can tell, my Biden impersonation isn't great, but you can barely hear the guy speak now. He just murmurs. He just talks, and then we have to do. You don't understand him. He should get a podcast, and he should just do that. He should just move on from this job. I don't understand what the influence is here. I don't understand what the draw is as far as like, oh, I want to keep on doing this. Why? You're going to die. Now, here's an interesting scenario. Let's say Biden wins. Somehow Biden wins and he dies in office. Rest in peace. I hope he had a great life. Kamala becomes president. I get it. Oh, and I was actually talking about this at an engagement this past weekend where it's like, oh, I don't want it to be her. But also, and so this was my argument where it's like, does it matter? It doesn't matter. Obama wasn't the best president, but we wanted him. We wanted a nice black guy in the office. I don't really care how he does on the job, but this is the change we need right now. And it's also monumental to then have I don't know what she identifies as, whether it's Indian, African, whatever it is. But a minority woman in office, not in office, the president. Come on now. Who cares what happens after that? But also, here's my, not conspiracy, but I guess my, don't take fantasy in the weird way, you know what I'm saying? But like, let's say she just turns this thing into an absolute, she just becomes a tyrant. And she puts the foot down on America, where she just says, you know what, enough's fucking enough. This is how we're going to run shit from now on. Like a good Indian mom, you know what I'm saying? Where she loves you. She loves you. But if you piss her off, oh my God. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen, right? We're just saying hypotheticals. Now we get to Trump. As much as you can hate Trump for his politics, who he is, paying off porn stars, this guy is one of the greatest entertainers in all of history. Anytime a camera is on this guy, a debate, whatever, The Apprentice, his hotel, or whatever he's talking about, anytime this guy is on camera, it is entertainment. He is an absolute monster when it comes to this shit. He knows how to duck and weave on questions. He knows how to make certain facial expressions for you to be like, what am I even watching? And that is the guy that is going against our poor old man on the other side. This shit at that the point that we're at is quite literally abuse. And we got to let all these guys go. We got to let them all go. I was telling Isha this. Now, look, I'm not part of the far left wing and saying, hey, you know what? I think we don't need a president. I think we should all just be able to do what we want to do and just vote and just have whatever like, cut it out. That's how you end up with a California. That's how you end up with California. I know what people think, oh my gosh, California is so great. No, it's not. The weather over here is great. Everything else is not great. I truly believe that we do need a governing body. You need a governing body. This has been a testament of time. I understand all the civilizations have fallen and they have all have had governing bodies, but I do believe we need a governing body. The issue is how this thing is set up currently. It's not fit. It's not fit for this new America that we've gotten to, right? We have these 1774 laws and rules and regulations and age restrictions and limits on an America that's much, much past that. If it was even possible to put a pause on this shit, right? Hey, you know what? We're gonna actually keep Biden in office, just hold the seat for a little bit. And we're gonna change up this structure. We're gonna bring in Bain, Deloitte, McKinsey. We're gonna bring all those consultants in that are doing blow on the weekends. Bring them in here, and they're gonna work their ass off for about 4 months. 2 years maybe. Let's give them 2 years. You know how long they take. And they're just going to restructure all of this shit. Hey, you know what? This is how you get a law passed. Hey, you know what? This is how this get passed. Hey, this is how we can get healthcare to a certain affordability. Hey, this is how we can get Americans to hold more houses. Like they can actually afford housing. This is how we can get all of this shit in place. Okay, and then this is what the president will be. And this is what the age restriction and window will be. And this is how the whole setup will be. Okay, now we can continue. It's crazy, man. The point that we're at is crazy. And look, I get the questions, like people are like, "Oh my gosh, like a burger is $16 and for me to go to the hospital it costs $1,000." Those things, yes, I understand. We can blame the president. They're not really in charge of gas prices as much as we want to think they are. There is something a little bit funny about people complaining about climate change. Like I get it. There's ways to probably mitigate it, but I don't expect these guys to be Superman, you know? Like this earth is moving towards the sun. And you expect one of those dudes to go out there and push it the other way? We got to be realistic at some point, but overall, now we lead right into Happy July 4th. July 4th was this past week, and I understand it's a little weird with me wishing you on July 9th, but the theme is America. The theme is America. And let's just get straight into it. Like July 4th it's a fun time, right? You get time off of work. You get to have some boat parties, you barbecue, you watch some fireworks as a kid. But the fireworks thing I think it's gotten out of hand. I think it's gotten out of hand. And this is what I say when it's like, I think we have too much freedom. I truly do believe I think we have too much freedom. Fireworks is banned in California. Fireworks is banned in California. Banned means you cannot do this. You cannot use fireworks. You can go to a show. Maybe there's people a little bit more regulated that, okay, you know what? This one show in Culver City you can go to and watch fireworks. You'll park your car here. It'll take you about an hour to leave. But you get to watch fireworks with the family. There'll be some concession stands. And this is what you can do. Instead, this is what's crazy. Remember, fireworks are banned in California. I live in Los Angeles, California. On my balcony, if you just do a panorama, what's the word I'm looking for? If you just look across the horizon, right? I'm in a nice little apartment, right? You can see stuff from the north, east, south. Everyone is doing fireworks. People in neighborhoods, people behind buildings. There's a parking lot across the street, and they were in the parking lot doing fireworks. And I said, "Oh my gosh, like these cops got a night full of this stuff." At what point is it like these cops can't do anything? What are they supposed to do? Go to every single 911 call, or sorry, whatever the non-emergency hotline number is, and stop everyone? It's crazy. This is what I mean by California, where this place has gotten so hippie, so far left on the far left side. It's too much. And there's so much like a science and stuff around why fireworks should be banned. Right? First of all, the amount of injury, the pollution to the air, we're talking about all this global climate change and stuff. Firework and the injuries that happen. Did I already say that? Anyways, there is no upside to this stuff. The noises, I understand. It brings some PTSD back for some veterans, but let's not start acting like we care about veterans. I care. But as a general America, we don't really care. We don't really take care of them. Oh, you can have 0% down on a house. Okay, cool. Cool. I don't even think they want a house at this point. And so we're at this weird point. Some places have replaced fireworks with these drone shows, which is pretty cool. It is pretty cool, I guess. And I remember fireworks being a phenomenon when I was a kid, right? You would pull up in your Honda van that could carry 10 people with your family. A couple people would be on the roof. A couple people would be in the trunk. And you'd watch these fireworks. And then you drive home. But now it just feels like first of all, how do people even get all these fireworks? I'm talking about fireworks way too much. So let me bring this to a close of saying Happy July 4th. I hope you stayed safe. Okay, so nepotism. I like nepotism. I like a good plate of nepotism to a certain extent, right? I understand the whole concept of, hey, if someone else is working for the job and this person got promoted just because their dad is the VP of finance, I understand that's wrong. It sucks. It's part of life. It is part of life. Now, the story, this idea, this theme, this concept came to me when the NBA draft happened last week. And if you haven't kept up, it's one of the biggest stories in sports right now. And it's pretty iconic. LeBron James, no introduction needed. He is on the Lakers, and the Lakers draft his son, Bronny James Jr., maybe, at the 54th pick of the round four, some pick not much later on. But they drafted his son. Now, no chance was any team really about to draft his son. So that's people's issue with this, where it's like, yo, you picked this guy just because he's LeBron James' son. There are a lot more players out there qualified that would be picked way ahead of Bronny. So this type of nepotism should not be tolerated. Now look, like I said, America is Hollywood. Hollywood is near Los Angeles. If you are in LA and you get to go to a Lakers game, first of all, you get to see probably the best basketball talent in our generation in LeBron James. And now you get to see him playing with his son. Imagine his son throwing him a pass, LeBron dunking the ball, or vice versa, and them winning a game. That type of euphoria, that is what you're selling. You're selling entertainment. It doesn't matter about, oh, thank God we got the 138th pick correct. Who cares? This guy has brought at least millions of dollars to your franchise from him coming here. No one else was going to save the Lakers like LeBron's name did. Fact of the matter, it is what it is. There was no one's name that was going to be that big, that brings this much attention. Now, just to make sure y'all know that my Lakers mind is correct, he will never be above the Kobe Bryant tier of Laker. There is no chance in hell. It's just there's no way, right? You got a homegrown hero who brings 5 championships versus the guy that comes, kind of creates a circus. And this is what LeBron does, right? He is a circus and then brings 1 title. But him drafting his son, it's essentially him drafting his son. I understand the hatred behind it. Oh, this guy is working harder. I don't believe that, the person should just be walked over because he's a son. Where have y'all been? Where have y'all been? This is a thing. This has always been a thing. Sh- There was a Bollywood movie not too long ago, The Archies. That movie was built around nepotism. Built around it. Hey, if you're a son of any famous actor, actress, director, person in the industry, you're going to be in this movie. There were a couple people that weren't, there were a couple of people that weren't part of nepotism, and I'm sure their career will flourish just fine. But nepotism is part of the brand. If I own hotels, if I own a bunch of Marriotts in the area, and I have to then figure out what to do with my business. Let's throw the hotel concept out of the window because that was a bit racist. Let's say I own businesses. And it is time for me to then hand off the business because I'm getting old, right? I'm at Biden's age. I need to let go of the business. Do you think I'm more motivated to sell it to some random person? Or would I rather have that stay in the family name and then pass that on to them? Oh, but this is different. This is sports. No, it's not. It's not different. Now, look, it'd be one thing if Bronny was the worst basketball player in the world, right? And he's not that up there, but he's not the worst. But this is the same thing. Nepotism wins no matter what, because at some point, someone in the ladder, father, son, mother, daughter, granddaughter, someone in that chain, guy or girl, it doesn't matter, had to break through the ceiling. They had to break through the ceiling to then earn nepotism. I understand it's not going to be fair for others. That's the point. That's the point. I've always explained nepotism as people that just know where the doors are. They know where the doors are, and then talent will remain around. For example, let's say LeBron retires next year. He plays 1 year with his son. He fixes all father-son relationships in the black community because that's how strong this story is. And then he retires. Bronny has a horrible year the next year. The Lakers will get rid of him. Or no team will pick him up. And that's the end of nepotism. Talent remains around. Nepotism will get you in the door. As someone that lives in Los Angeles, California, and wants to be in the entertainment world, I don't have anyone in my family that is even remotely close to knowing where the doors are. And that is why my career has accelerated in the path that it has. I understand there's a certain vigor you can have as an individual to pursue those arts. But it could help. It could help if your dad was a director. It could help if your dad was a stagehand on a project. Hey, they just do the lighting here. But they know where the doors are. Hey, you need to get this audition. This is where you could go. Oh, you want to get this stand-up gig? This is where you could go. That shit helps. That's all nepotism. And then after that, like I keep saying, true talent stays around. A lot of actors today, a lot of actresses today are in the game because of nepotism. Sometimes it's, moms and dads that didn't really get fulfilled in their career, right? Like, let's say me, for example, right? I didn't make it to the NBA. Surprise, surprise. More than likely, if I have a kid that's interested in basketball, I'm going to stay on his ass. I'm going to push him as hard as I can because I know exactly where I went wrong and what I was lacking to maybe at least get closer to the curve, to get closer to the door. Now, sometimes that helps, right? Hey, I know where I failed in this path, therefore I can help you get to where you want to go. If you want something similar. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me get off y'all's ass about that shit. But overall, I think it is an awesome story. I think it is awesome that Bronny is playing with his dad. I think this is some legendary shit. especially with his dad being in the shape that he is, right? He's still probably one of the best players in the NBA at the age of 41 or maybe 40, and his son's 18. Come on now. It's Hollywood. Okay, we're going to get into some rapid fire final topics. Ah, shit, I forgot to talk about one thing. Damn. We'll move this next week and we'll talk about our rapid fire stuff so we can keep this episode under wraps. And the first thing being this Drake and Kendrick beef one last time. I know y'all are tired of hearing me talk about it, but I just get frustrated. You know, like I just get frustrated hearing people's opinions. I understand. Oh, well, you have a podcast, you share your opinions. I get it. But Kendrick now drops a music video for Not Like Us. Can we stop acting like this song is one of those songs? I get it. It's a bop. The A minor line, legendary line. But what are we talking about here, man? What are we actually talking about here? Freaky at you a 6'9" god? In what world does 6'9" become freaky? Can we stop playing, man? Now that he has this music video and now people are like, oh my gosh, Drake is cooked. He'll never come back. Kendrick's the greatest. Stop playing. I don't know who was on the Bill Simmons podcast talking about, yeah, you know, we got to see Drake is similar to LeBron. Something I said. I'm pretty sure he stole it from me. And he got to go against the Jordan of rap. Stop playing. Stop it. Kendrick is not him. I understand. He is an absolute talent. He's an absolute talent. Let me calm down. I apologize. He's an absolute talent. But stop it. In a couple months, when you want to listen to music, when you're at a party, you're not going to play Kendrick songs. If you couldn't even name me 3 Kendrick albums right now, the average listener, I understand there's a handful of Kendrick fans that know Damn, Pimp a Butterfly, Section 80. He has good albums of work. But let's stop playing like he's above Drake in any type of capacity as far as greatness goes. As far as greatness goes, people talk about, oh, Drake was just able to achieve greatness. How the hell do you think that happens? How do you think that happens? Do you think it just happens by accident? Do you think there was nepotism? No. It's because someone introduced him to the game and he blew up and people stuck around with his music. He figured out a cheat code. He kept figuring out the next cheat code after the previous cheat code got banned, and he stayed around and he was able to play the game longer than any of these dudes around him. Kendrick is on record talking about, thanks Drake for putting me on tour when no one else would. How crazy. And now people are talking about, and now he's bashing Drake like no other. This is crazy. Imagine if Drake one day started being like, you know what, I'm better than Lil Wayne, and this is why. And then he has a music video about it, and then he has a whole song about it, and then he repeats the song 38 times at a concert. Bro, don't be disrespectful to the freaking hand that fed you. Anyways, that's my last, you know what, I'm going to make it officially, I don't know, the last time I talk about that on this podcast. After that, The Boys season 4. This thing has been a little bit lackluster. There's only so many times you can show me a penis exploding, and I'm gonna be like, okay, that's fun. It feels like they're just kind of wasting time. They're kind of just putting together some scraps and getting to an end. I'm not a big fan, but I do have faith. I've always had faith in people that have done good for 3 seasons. With that being said, The Bear season, I think this is season 4. This has been a little bit lackluster. Now, look, it's one thing to get annoyed because of the ads. I have to watch it on Disney, aka Disney and Hulu are on the same thing. It has ads. Kind of hurts the watching experience. I don't pay for premium. I don't pay for it at all, actually. But it just feels like they've gotten a little bit too artistic with it. Like, I love the artistry, right? Oh my gosh, like this montage of this, his whole history of, cooking and how did he get to this point. But this show has dragged on a bit. And there are episodes where you'll go by and just be like, what was the point of that? I truly could have gone without that episode. I finished the whole season. And now I got to wait to find out if they got their star or not. I don't know. Sorry if I spoiled stuff. Oops, I should have gave a spoiler alert ahead of time. And then lastly, on Apple TV, there's a show called Presumed Innocent. I am a huge fan of all Apple TV at this point. I've watched almost everything. Presumed Innocent, starring, I can't remember his name, but a decent watch. So if you're looking for something to watch in the meantime, in between uh, House of the Dragons, which I don't watch, but I need to start because it's legendary. I know. I need to get onto it. But if you have some spare time and you're looking for something to watch, Presumed Innocent, a decent watch, kind of slow watch, slow burn, little murder mystery vibes. But that is my recommendation for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, with all that being said, I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening to me rant for another hour, of course. And I will see you guys next week. And goodbye.